Press Start Podcast.
Well, welcome back to the Press Start Podcast. This is episode number 127, and this week I'm welcomed back by Scott, aka Scobie1.
Welcome back, everybody. How's it going?
And on the other side, we got Roger, aka Lunatic Oblivion. Welcome back, sir.
Hey guys, how are you doing today?
Oh, hopefully doing much better than my audio is, but there it is. But yeah, man. So first off, let's congratulate Scott on getting married. That's why he was absent from last week's episode. So shout out to that. Had a hell of a time too at the wedding as well.
Thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, man. So other than the wedding, anything new this week for you?
Well, as you can tell, I am in a different space now, and that is because my old place of peace, place of zen, place where I would go to heal any internal wounds, has been taken from me and stripped because it is going to be a nursery for our little girl who will be due in July. We are very, very excited. Can't wait to go through that right now. And also, that was a joke. It wasn't stripped for me. I just like saying so. No, we're very excited. We're pulling everything out of that. Gonna be getting the room ready, and we are just very, very excited for her arrival. Mama's starting to show, and it's beautiful.
Oh yeah, dude.
Just every time I see it, I'm just like in awe, and like I just have like in my head, I'm like, man, I gotta fucking grow up. Sucks. Shit, I have to be like actually responsible. Like there was a level of there was a level of maturity and responsibility that I operated kind of right in the bounds of, and I just gotta So I might start wearing some button-up polos, a little forward-facing hat says like "Girl Dad" or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah.
Sky's the limit, honestly. But no, can't wait. Very excited, and that is the two biggest things that has happened in my life and will happen in my life.
Yeah, but like getting married and having a kid. I mean,
yeah. We're starting 2024 off
what a bang.
We hit the ground running. Yeah. So can't wait. It's gonna be exciting. It's gonna be a fun time.
Congrats on that again, man. What about you, Roger? Anything new with you over the last 2 weeks?
Not really, just playing games and trying not to get my ass fired at work, I guess. Now.
I hear
no. We hired on one of our contractors permanently, so that's cool. One of our fellow streamers got a full-time gig with the state, which is nice.
Hey, congrats to him.
Yeah,
that's great. So on me, other than me feeling sick again per usual, I feel like I've been in and out of being sick since like November. Can't wait to get health insurance when I get married come this summer. But only other new thing that happened was this lovely thing back here, the OG Xbox. I was telling you.
It's really funny because you posted that, and I'm like, you could have just asked. I have 3 of them downstairs.
Oh yeah. Well, I got this for free.
Not at all. Not at all. Actually, I don't have 3 of them. I have 1, and the CD drive door is busted.
Yeah, so actually, funny thing is, right, my friend from high school, Roger, I think you met him one time at the Modern Warfare 3 launch, Jordan Ramirez. He hit me up. He was like, yo, I have 2 original Xboxes. Do I want them? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll take them off your hands. He was like, yeah, when I moved into my apartment, they were in the closet. I found them in the closet. And he was like, I don't even know if they work. I was like, I'll take them. I'll figure it out. So I bring them both home, and one turns on, one doesn't. I was like, okay, cool. The one that turns on has a busted disk drive. So I take them both apart and I replace the disk drives, turn it on, boom, boots up, find out actually one of them had a game in it, had the original Fable, so shout out to that game. And the game looks like it's in fucking pristine condition, so I was like, okay, this is dope.
I mean, it's sat,
it sat there for who knows how long
in its plastic coffin for a decade.
I can't wait to hear next week about how fun replaying Fable was for you.
Probably not gonna happen. But yeah, it's great. I actually booted up to make sure it would run. Like I literally just turned the game on and let it run for like a few hours of just sitting there, and it runs perfectly fine, no issues. So I was like, this is fucking dope. Just made out on an Xbox, but now I literally have every Xbox. I have the original, the 360, the Xbox One, and the Series X. Now I'm gotta complete the PlayStation as well.
Question for the masses. Did it come with the Duke?
A knockoff?
Do you have the Duke? No, like the Duke. Did it come with the Duke?
So it came with 2 of these controllers. Interesting enough, which I'm pretty content with.
Ooh, like, that's a big dope. Fat phony.
Yeah, I was like, they're pretty cool. I know they're not the original like Dukes, the
The
massive
Duke,
controllers.
man, it's the big motherfucker. You're just like,
Yeah, so I was
fucking
excited for that. But without further ado, though, let's dive into what we've been playing over the past week. We'll kind of just highlight some of the games that that we've been excited to play. We have a lot of games that are consistently on our list week in and week out. But we're going to dive right into a game that we've all been playing and continue to play. And the reason I want to cover it mainly is because there was a recent update, and that was Halo Infinite. Obviously, we're diving into multiplayer like almost every day. It seems like somebody's hopping in out and playing. There's a massive group of us. I think there's like 8 to 10 of us right now trying to like rotate in and out with playing. But it's been a great time, man. With this new update, they overhauled the network. They added like an easy anti cheat like system. Squad battle got a refresh by adding 8 new maps, which is a game mode that we play 99% of the time. So this was awesome to see that they added 8 new maps, 7 of which or 9 new maps, sorry, 7 of which that were made by talented forgers, and there was 2 remade maps from Halo 4 Perdition and Halo 1. This map was exclusive to the PC version of the game called Timberland. So it was awesome to see all this new content come out because Roger, there for a while, I feel like we were playing the same 2 maps. We talk about that shit all the time.
I was joking with Jeff Slugs when he hopped into the game for the first time coming back like 3 weeks ago. I was like, my man, I've been playing 4v4s with Vic and everyone else for like weeks, for like a week or two, and I've only played the same 4 maps. You hop into this fucking game and I play 6 straight maps that are different. Where were these?
Right.
What the fuck? And then we fucking play 8v8 and it's always the same map every time. Now we play 8v8. It's the same new map every time. Like, God
Yeah, they got to figure
damn
out,
it,
I guess,
dude.
like the rotation, like the algorithm that determines like map play. Like Call of Duty, I think has done it really well. Like I feel
Mhm.
old Call of Duties, no, you used to play on the same fucking map every game, but the new one it
I'm
rotates through maps really well.
I'm still sitting here going, "Hey guys, where's my map voting system? Like it worked great for years. Awesome. We all loved it. Why did games get rid of it?"
Yeah, never understood it. I mean, even Call of Duty did it there. Like they got rid of it, and then everyone's like, "Where the fuck is this shit at?" And they brought it back. They're like, "Yes,
Let's
like,
go.
because fuck us. That's why.
pretty much. Other parts of the update they added like adjustments to a lot of the weapons. Firefight got new options to make like custom matches, which is pretty dope. Because right now, like in the game, it was only Firefight like King of the Hill, where like now you can
Mhm.
like make basic Firefight matches. And you can tune and like with the whole AI like scripting and the Forge tools that you really have at your hands, you can have a lot of fun with this, which is awesome. And of course, a lot of quality of life updates. So Halo is booming, it's thriving, and I just finished season 2 of the show, and that's been booming. Like we are getting to the game. Like the end of season 2 basically leads you up to what happens in the first game, and I was like, I'm in. Like you had me hooked. And if you guys haven't checked it out, you don't even need to watch the first
Noted.
season. By the way, first season has like barely any connection to anything that has happened in season 2. It's like they threw season 1. They were like, season 1 was that bad? Pff, throw it away. Let's start over again. So
Good.
Throw it in the trash,
Good.
boy.
Because I'm not gonna fucking watch it.
yeah, season 2 highly recommended. Like you see the fall of Reach, you can see a lot of like Halo like connections. You're just like, yo, that's so and so. Oh, that's that. Like you start to like point out shit, and it just makes sense, and it just
Mhm.
clicks, and it's so badass. So definitely highly recommend that. But moving on to some of the other games that you guys have been playing, Roger. Let's talk about some of your games here, because let's talk about the game that you actually recently beat. Obviously, the new one's out now. That's probably why you picked this up. You wanted to check it out. But Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon, this is the original game that also includes all of the additional content that came out afterwards and any of the adjustments, updates. You did beat it. How was your experience? Are you looking forward to playing the second one? Like, what's your thoughts here?
Honestly, after seeing the reviews on the second one, it feels like a big disappointment. I don't even want to get near it right now, but not to mention the fact that like the first one was a slog, dude. Like there are so many problems with this game. And everyone that like I talk about the game to is just like, it's so good. And I was like, God, dude,
But
did you
is it?
lose your taste? Like, what? The game just has so many blatant issues that was really just a massive turnoff to playing the game. Like the fact that the AI was so bad. Like I'm sitting there trying to cast a spell and my AI are just like,
Doing something else.
There's absolutely not.
do you
Absolutely.
see that tree? And I'm like, dude, there's 5 guys right here. That guy's about to shoot me in the face. But look at that tree. Just like, dude, can you do something? And the AI would just stand there and watch me, and like they would circle me. Enemies would be right next to me, and my AI would be like, "This is the moment. This guy moves really fast. Charge attack. Guy moves away."
Yeah, so it sounds like
What?
some AI scripting was really bad, huh?
And the final, like the dragon fight was a little meh. It,
Yeah.
it felt good in some parts, and other parts were just like rinse, repeat, and it just same shit over and over again. But then I got to some of the good parts. Like I thought the actual overall story, it had real promise, like really well designed, thought out, nicely written story. Like I actually was excited to see how it ends, and I liked how it ended. But it could have gotten there better. It's like people were like, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And this game was like, yeah, it's about the destination, boys.
This
Yeah.
journey
And they're like,
fucking sucks, bro.
they're like, you can quit whenever you want. And I was like, but I want to finish the actual true ending. They were like, you killed the dragon. Game's over if you want. Credits already rolled. And then the game's like, just so you know, though, you've now plumbed, like, you've just taken the world and thrown it into hell. And you're just like, huh. And they're like, game's done, though.
Yeah.
Is it?
And it's so
I
crazy
don't
because
feel
like
it is.
it almost sounds like it sets up like a sequel, right? And obviously we know Dragon's Dogma 2 just came out, but it's not a sequel, interesting enough. It's like
Yeah.
a retelling of the first game. It's set in like a parallel universe, so like some of the stuff that happens in the first game kind of happens in the second game, so it's like not necessary to play the first at all.
Yeah, and the thing is, they explain that away at the very end because, like, spoiler alert, if you didn't play this 12-year-old game, turn off the volume for a little bit. But the ending of the game for Dragon's Dogma is the fact that you're an Arisen, and Arisen is essentially a god. An Arisen that fails to become god becomes a dragon, and an Arisen that does succeed becomes the actual god, the maker. They're not like God with a capital G, but they are God in the sense that there is nothing above them. There is no real God. They are the maker of the world. Everything to them is like a pawn. So pawns are,
Big in the game.
are
Yeah.
soulless beings that,
Mhm.
that follow around the Arisen. But when the Arisen finally ascends and takes over for the previous God who wants to find peace and actually die, when you take over for that person, you now make people with souls instead of pawns without souls.
Yeah, okay. Pretty cool concept. I mean,
Yeah.
I've been contemplating whether we're checking Dragon's Dogma 2 out, but I was probably thinking about waiting until next year because like my goal right now is to get through 52 games in a year, and I can't play big games to get through that 52 in a year.
That's
So
what
like
killed me
Not with that
last year.
attitude.
so next
Not with
year,
that
next year
attitude.
my goal is to play bigger games, and I don't care how long they take for me to beat, and I don't care how many games I
Mhm.
beat next year. So that's going to be probably the game that's on my list. Apparently, it's in Game of the Year talks. Like they said, it's up there with like Baldur's Gate 3, like the success, what the game's capable of doing and stuff like that. So
What it's capable of, but that's the thing. It isn't. It's not Baldur's Gate 3. We can't say like it has so much potential. It flopped, my man. It flopped right out the door, and it literally was like, "Hey, so Ubisoft, we really like what you did with microtransactions there. We're going to do that too."
yeah, that's a big issue.
Like it
That's
it, it honestly
bullshit.
we talk about these games like they have the potential to be game of the year. What do you mean? Like,
It's
do we
an
have to
86
wait for
on
6
Metacritic.
updates? Like,
Hey, if they fixed the
Metacritic doesn't know
microtransactions,
shit, dude.
if they fixed the AI, if they fixed the gameplay, if they fixed some of the visuals, if they fixed any of the bugs, if they made sure that like the quality of life was there, this could really be game of the year.
So, like,
That's
remake
like
the game.
that's like
It,
that's like that's like telling me that I deserve an award for basketball because if I was 6'7"
you
and
c-
I
you
played
could and you
basketball,
could dunk and you could
I
also
could dunk,
dribble
I
and
I
you
could
could
have
be
been
world champion.
I could have been just the best. Like that's the argument. That's the
Yeah,
argument we're
like
making.
and like I gotta be honest here. Looking at Steam reviews, like the game is overwhelmingly was I say was because it's no longer overwhelmingly negative. Within the first 24 hours, this stuff was overwhelmingly negative. Now it's stuck at like a 40% mixed, 50% mixed. And like, I get it. Like, everyone is complaining about the big microtransactions. Like, that's not a huge killer for me, but the biggest problem is the fact that the game for a lot of systems is unoptimized and unplayable. Like, shit, dude, Halo out here, like, just knows how to compile shaders. Why can't anyone else take 10 minutes to compile some fucking shaders?
Yeah. So it almost seems like the PC version again is struggling because like I don't really see a lot of issues with the console, both PS5 and the Xbox. And like the game's reviewing extremely well like everywhere else except for like Steam. So like I'm starting to see where the trend's lying here. Like the Steam version is not that great, but like
Yeah.
everywhere else
But
the game is at 8, 9,
So
10.
as a Steam user and as a PC player, um, that's where all the whiny bitches are. It's me. I'm whiny bitches.
Mhm.
I get it. But I firsthand watched this game being played yesterday on a PC, and it looked really good.
Mhm.
So
But like, Vic, you keep telling me Metacritic score, and like Metacritic can suck my dick because they've reviewed horribly on so many horrible games. They're like 9 out of 10 game of the year talks, and the user reviews are like 2 out of 10. Like, Metacritic has a 5.9 for this game. The user said 5.9. I have never been able to trust a reviewer at this point
I mean,
because
technically
they
reviews
get
are all
these.
subjective.
look at
Yeah,
this. Look at
Very
this
short.
tell-all review for the
yeah.
Dragon's Dogma 2 by a person who's never played an RPG.
Yeah, so I
Here
mean, this is
you
like breaking
go.
down like Eurogamer 5 out of 5, VG 24/7 5 out of 5, Dextereo 5 out of 5, like Gaming Bolt 10 out of 10, Gaming Trends 95 out of 100, GameSpot 9 out of 10, like Pure Xbox 10 out of 10, like all these big time publisher or companies are
But
giving it
these people
huge
are like,
praise.
yeah, we can't shit on a big game because then they're not going to let us review them again.
We shit on them. We're
We
not going to be
yeah we
popular.
definitely covered that
Yeah,
controversial issue
like
too.
honestly, it feels like some of these reviews are just
Either way we
like,
look at it, I know we got to move this
yeah,
conversation along.
exactly.
Either way we look at it, this game's going to be in Game of the Year talks, whether you like it, I like it,
Oh
Scott
yeah.
likes it. It's going to be Game of the Year talks. Like it's just there's no way around it at this point. That's just how the
Mhm.
gaming industry is at right now.
You just got to give them the Rotten Tomatoes treatment. You look at the critic score, cool. You look at the audience score. That's where you really fucking look, because that'll tell you. Look
Yeah,
at the
Mhm.
user score and see what the users are saying. They're the most reliable source,
yeah.
as always.
Look at actual consumer who votes with their wallet, not somebody who gets a free code and makes a review.
Yeah.
But talking about games that I played here on my side, I beat 2 games over the last 2 weeks. One of them was Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I've never played either of the Mirror's Edge games, and I almost like really don't recommend this to anybody in the sense I don't know how the first one plays out, but like this was the most recent one, and this was like this massive like open world parkour game basically, and the story felt very janky, very all over the place. The parkour was clunky at times, but it was probably its highlight as well, which isn't saying a lot. Combat was just seems like it was stapled on last minute to the game. Visually, it looked fucking stunning. The world is beautiful. Characters are extremely detailed. The cutscenes are extremely done, like really well. So it got a 6 out of 10 for me. Like it's just an okay game. Like it wasn't bad, but it also wasn't a good game. Like there was so much side content in the game that I really didn't understand the point of doing it. I
When
really
I
didn't.
played it, I dropped it because it just didn't feel great enough. It didn't keep me captured. Like, I didn't want to beat the game. That
Right.
was the problem. Like, I didn't want to keep playing.
Right. I felt I was like 3 hours into the game, and I was just like, well, I might as well just beat it because it's only going to take me
Yeah.
like less than 8 hours or something like that to beat it. So I eventually did beat it, whatever. But I skipped out on like all the side content. Did not matter to me about, oh, can you deliver this for me? No, I'm not delivering that for you. I'm cool. Like it had no impact to me or my progression in the game. Like I almost maxed out my character just by doing mainlining the game. So like I knew
Hmm.
like those side missions were irrelevant. But I mean, people who like the story and more lore, more depth into the world, who wants to live that world, yeah, that was probably great for them. But not me, who's trying to beat and get through games. On the other side, though, here is my other game, New Tales from the Borderlands. This is the game for Shoot the Wind's Game Club Game of the Month. Um, Obviously, I'm going in more detail here on the 28th to talk about it, but this is a general fun experience. I again never played the first one. This is the second one in this type of Borderlands game. This is kind of like similar to like Telltale games, where it's kind of like point and click, like action sequences that you gotta like time your buttons and whatnot. Um, Overall, like the story was actually really appealing. It wasn't what I was expecting. Like when you play the mainline Borderlands games, like you are vault hunters. Like you were going and trying to take care of business. Here, you're like a band of misfits that got thrown in together, and the stories that come together, and like you become accidental vault hunters. So it was a really interesting concept, and it was really fun. The comedy in there reminded me a lot of like Star Wars, especially with the droids. Um, Overall, fun experience. I believe I gave this one a 7 out of 10. Like it wasn't nothing over the top. It didn't reinvent the wheel in any way. It didn't make the wheel any better either, but it was a generally fun experience. Like I enjoyed the game. I kind of like turned my brain off. I literally was falling asleep because I was so tired from being up, but I wanted to make sure I beat this game in time. Like there was times where like I fell asleep trying to play the game, and like there's certain points like you actually have to react, and if I don't react, I fail, and the game like, oh, game over, blah blah blah, you died, and it was just like I'd wake up and like, oh, I died. Let me continue playing, and I kept playing. So I probably could have played it in a better state, but I played it late at night between like 12 and 2 o'clock in the morning. So of course that's the experience I had, but I still enjoyed it. Definitely recommend it. And interesting enough, I got this on sale on Amazon for like less than $20, and it was the deluxe edition, so it came with the original one as well, the digital copy. So I was like, oh, I might go check this out now just because of the enjoyment that I got from it. But enough of me for now, Scott. You've been playing a lot of PUBG lately. I just want to hear about like how the game's going because we're going to dive into PUBG a little bit later on as well with some updates. But winner chicken dinners, you get
Yeah,
some?
got some chicken dinners. I think overall I've only played like I want to say 8 or 9 games so far. But I only got 2 chicken dinners, but usually top 5. Um, it's I forgot how much of a different pace it was
Oh yeah.
than yeah,
Warzone?
it's
Then
entirely different
Warzone?
than like Warzone. Yeah, because I'm like, let's fucking get in there and let's grip it, and then I don't see anybody for like 5 minutes. I'm like, where the fuck is everybody?
Yeah, map's big as shit. Can't find
Map's
nobody.
big as
Everybody's
shit.
sitting in a corner or in a bush.
Somebody shows up, then kicks your shit in. You're like, cool, that was a waste of time.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was a waste of a 5 minute fucking lobby search. But no, it's fun. There's a lot of I haven't played it in I want to say like it's been like maybe 2 years, 3 years, maybe even 4 or 5. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And they've added a lot of shit to it.
There's so much in that game now.
There's so much stuff. It's the 7 year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So they have all that going on. But it's fun. It's fun. You don't have to worry about ridiculous metas or fucking wannabe movement gods.
Yeah.
And shit like that, and like people just fucking thirsting like the whole
Yeah.
time. So it was a very welcome change of pace.
Mm-hmm.
And it was still very fun. It still looks exactly like I remember it, but we'll get into that later.
Right.
But yeah, it's fun. I love the you use what you find and that's it. I'm a fan of that. I've been a fan of
no
that.
loadout drops. No, let me create a class, get some perks.
Yep, like it's nice. So really it comes down to like your luck of the draw, and then can you
Yeah.
you use what
Honestly,
you found?
that's how I like missed about like Fortnite, like back in the day, like OG Fortnite. Like you kind of won with whatever you fucking found on the ground. Like, did you get lucky and get a gold scar, or did you end up with just like a green AR?
Yep.
You know, it was just all about the luck of the draw, like what you got out of the chest, whatever the floor loot was, and that was that.
And if you got shit gear, were you able to actually do something with it? Because like there are some games where it's just like, yeah, I got a gold scar, cool, but you still lost.
Right.
Yeah. But that's where it comes down to like, yeah, did you get lucky and find some good stuff? Or do you know that you're better with Dragonov than something else? Do you know that you're really good with like their little Uzi? Are you know you're good with that? Okay, cool. Then maybe you'll pick the Uzi instead of something else. So it really comes down to like how you use what you find, and I think that speaks a little bit more about the game than just like, oh, I just found a gold scar. I auto win.
Auto win.
Because I found what was that? It was an MK12, and then I found a 6x scope, and I just fucking toasted these bitches. I think I walked around. I think I walked away from that game with like I think it was like 10 or 11 kills.
Jeez.
and that was one of the ones that I won because that gun's fucking nasty,
Yeah.
or at least it was nasty for me. I had a great time using that. I was
Right.
like, this is exciting.
This feels
Um,
OP.
this feels really really strong. So now I'm just only looking for MK12s, and you know how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
all in all, man, it is fun. It was like hopping back in, riding a bicycle, and can't wait to see what they do with some of the future things.
Yeah. But let's talk about a game that is very meta heavy, and that's Helldivers 2. Obviously, like if you ain't rocking the meta and you join with these random people, they're probably gonna kick you from the game because
They're
you
gonna
ain't
fuck
rocking
you
the
up.
meta.
They're gonna fuck
So,
you
but
up. Yep.
is your experience anywhere like this? Are you playing with friends? Is it still fun? Is for democracy? Is it going?
Democracy demands perfection.
Yeah. Apparently, you guys
I've
failed
only
the
I've
last
yeah,
mission.
I've only played a little bit, admittedly, this week, um, just because generally, like, if I am getting on, other people might be playing something else, but I think I've only went in for like 2 missions this week, if that, in the past 2 weeks,
Yeah.
because I just had I mean, the marriage, everything else going on, like my mind's just been in other places, so I try to pick something up that I can just like easily
Put down.
pick back up or like put back down and kind of walk away from.
Yeah.
Um,
He picks
but
things up and
Mhm.
puts them down.
I do frequently between the hours of 4 and 6 p.m. As
Yeah.
long as the place isn't fucking crowded. But yeah, it's still fun. I mean, it's still fun. They're still doing their thing. The collective experience
Yeah.
is still, even if you're not playing actively, the collective experience that they've been able to cultivate over the past month is something else entirely.
Yeah,
To like
it's
to
definitely an
to behold.
experience to like
Yeah.
be part of a community where like it's actually feels like you're working together to accomplish something, as opposed
Yeah,
to like Call of
100%.
Duty. Call of Duty's like as a community, you need to get like 1,000 headshots, and we'll give you this camo. Like it doesn't feel like you're working together to do anything.
Yeah,
Like
no, this is actively like us against them. And
yeah,
I love the way that they've been doing some of their propaganda
hmm
um
especially with the flying
slash like
creatures.
denial. That's what I was
That's
yeah, I was
great.
getting ready to that's what I was getting ready to say, because like even then they were like, this is dissident propaganda, it's not real. And they're like, well, what about this? They're like, nope, that was photoshopped, absolutely not, blah blah blah.
Absolutely
Anybody
not.
anybody telling you that they've ran into this is lying. They are traitors. This is all traitorous propaganda.
I just
And
love
they're
the
like,
whole meta game, like
and then
how like in the world conversations you have with like
yep,
with
they're
the
like,
game
absolutely
master or
not.
whatever, and
That's
it's
that's
just like
what I'm
it's
saying.
great.
It's like the whole collective experience. That
Gaslighting
is
is
coming
part
from
of the
the.
experience,
It's
guys.
being gaslit is part of the democratic
It is
process,
the
and it's to
experience.
start and you're starting to sound like a fucking traitor if you get upset about that. But
Yeah.
the way they did that, it was just fantastic. Like overall, like, so even if you're not actively playing, being a part of like that and getting to see like the Super Earth news, everything like that, outstanding. Like 10 out of 10 experience. Like it's just so like it's becoming ingrained in your life,
Oh yeah, for sure.
even if you're not playing the game. It's awesome.
Yeah, I love seeing all the content on TikTok and other social medias and just keeping up with it.
hmm
It's been great
hmm
for sure. But moving on to just one last game I want to cover before we move on to our massive episode that we got ahead of us is Roger. I just wanted to get quick insight on Lightyear Frontier. This is a game that recently dropped onto Xbox Game Pass day one. This is a farming sim, but like in a mech. So like, tell me about your experience. Is this enjoyable? Something you see yourself playing for a while?
Yeah, honestly, I could see myself wanting to beat this game. Like, it actually has like an overarching story. Like, the idea is you crash land on a planet and you have a mech suit, and the whole idea is you're trying to get the planet ready for human habitation.
Mhm.
And so like each zone outside the starting zone is like crummy and ridden with like some sort of issue. You've got to clean it up, and I don't know why, and you'll find out slowly. And it feels really good right now with how it's being played out.
Yeah. Yeah, I've noticed a lot of people in the gaming industry are like, this is a game that you do not want to sleep on, but this is a game that's probably going to go under the radar big time because especially the year that we've had so far, like there's been a
Hmm.
lot of big hitters this year where games like this are just not going to exist on the mainstream market. But awesome to hear. I definitely was planning to check this out. I remember when we first covered this game when it was announced. I think it was at Xbox's Game Showcase or it might have been Summer Games Fest, one of those two. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. Like, it looks good. I love the abstract, like the very vibrancy of the world and the mechs and stuff like that. It seemed pretty cool. And I was like, Farming Sim, I don't know if I'm really into it, but the way you're talking about it might be worth a try.
Mm-hmm.
But that's everything that we've been playing. It's actually a really light week in upcoming game releases. I don't think that there are any of them that any of us are really particularly looking forward to, so nothing to talk about there. So let's go ahead and move on to our industry news.
And starting off with the industry news, we got some good news coming out of Nintendo. We have the sequel to Super Mario Bros. It's currently in the work and is scheduled for April 3rd, 2026. So get excited about that if you were a fan of the movie.
I actually have not seen it yet.
Okay.
I gotta get on it. Gotta get on it before I check out the sequel.
It's okay. It's not bad. They make Luigi look like a dumbass the whole time.
I think the
so
biggest turnoff is that Chris Pratt is Mario, but like
it's honestly, I think I apologized for that in a previous episode.
something you could look past.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Given the movie, it's definitely something you can look past.
Okay.
So
let's talk about something that we really can't look past right now because it's a really big impact on our country right now. Is we unanimously can't agree on like healthcare or a lot of different issues that our country has problems with. But TikTok though, almost unanimously, the House of Representatives passed a bill to ban TikTok, and obviously it's moving on to the Senate, and we're just like, okay, like this isn't good, like at all. There's a lot of issues. Obviously, there's a lot of one side versus the other side. Oh, this is bad. It's owned by China, but yet all of the information that's stored from TikTok in the United States goes to Oracle, based in Texas, which, if I'm not mistaken, like part of the government already owns. So that's one story to think about there. Why are they banning TikTok? That's a whole another rabbit hole we can dive down to. But the main point I wanted to dive in here is that one of the stipulations that if TikTok doesn't get banned, like the one outcome that has to happen is that the Chinese company that owns TikTok has to sell off TikTok to I guess United States company at this point. And Bobby Kotick, who recently was released from Activision Blizzard as the CEO, is reportedly looking into purchasing the app. And I was like, that's very interesting. The guy who ran Activision Blizzard into the ground wants to go and buy TikTok of all companies.
It's the Elon Musk of decisions there.
Right. It's like, I'm really good here at SpaceX, but I'm going to go buy X. Like, no.
Again. Now we're going to have TickX.
Yeah.
It'll be SpaceX, X, TickX. So we could do this until we are blue in the face. We could make the entire episode about this. But the TikTok portion of that bill is a red herring, and they're actually doing it so they can actually check your information for what you're actually visiting while you are at your home, including any banned sites, just starting with TikTok. But the only reason they give a fuck about TikTok is because they can't do with TikTok what they've done with Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter back when it was Twitter, is reach out to them, say, what are you going to do to handle this? Delete it. And it's because, believe it or not, and I can't believe that I'm saying this, 2 years ago, I would have walked in this door and punched myself in the back of the head for what I'm about to say. TikTok is really one of, depending, so algorithms, everything like that, obviously. Yeah. TikTok's really only one of the places where you can get unbiased news based off of what you're viewing, where you can actually look and say, you can see what you are being told, and they hate that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest examples was the issues I was going over in France. Like, France was burning to the ground, basically. Yep. But if you go on Facebook and Instagram, you search France, it looked like this beautiful country. Nothing's going on there. Oh, they have no problems. But as soon as you go to TikTok and you type in France, you've seen everything, like how bad it was. And it was just like, when I saw that, I was like, wow, like that puts shit into perspective of like, what have we been not privy to being able to see, and all the information that we have not been able to hear or understand because of the censorship from our government, where TikTok is just like, you could do whatever you want.
Yeah. It's because TikTok and ByteDance doesn't have Wednesday morning meetings with the FBI and fucking CIA.
For sure.
And they fucking hate this. And their biggest concern is, China. Okay, well, China, there's the whole CCP rule that if CCP gets a hold of you, you have to give them whatever it is they're asking for. Yeah, okay, sure. But ByteDance is a subsidiary, and nobody even on the ByteDance like board of directors is Chinese. Like the CEO is from Singapore, and you had our congressman up there going, "Sir, why is it that every time I open up TikTok, I see hot little lady boys? And tell me, what is an algorithm and how is it built?"
Yeah.
Like that's what they were fucking doing. Like it's the most annoying
You're seeing
bullshit.
them because you're searching for them.
Right.
No,
All
I
with
would never.
algorithms,
So you
sir.
mean to tell me that when I log into the TikTok, it's it's
Yeah.
in
And
the
I noticed
Wi-Fi, it's in my router.
yeah, that shit's crazy. Like I noticed how
And
the
they're-
algorithm really works. Like it even knows your location, right? Like if you travel, I went to Charlotte, right? It started showing me TikToks related to Charlotte location and what was happening in Charlotte, and I was like, this shit's like crazy. Like what it can actually do. And then like when I was like, because I was curious about the whole flat Earth thing, whether I believe it or not, no. But I clicked on like one video and I liked it because the guy went into depth and how like explained how maps are like misconstrued a lot of the ways and like why planes fly a certain direction and stuff like that. And I was like, okay. And next you know, my whole algorithm was nothing but fucking flat Earth shit. And I was like, nope, nope, not doing this.
and
I,
their biggest concern is, oh, we need to protect American citizens from information gathering from the Chinese government. Okay, cool. So tell me how many times Instagram's been fucking hacked. Tell me how many times Facebook has had information leaked. Tell me how many times Twitter has had information leaked. The only difference between any of that is that these guys can't control what the fuck you see on TikTok, and they hate that, especially in an election year.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how it goes. But obviously, we were circling back to Bobby Kotick being a CEO from Activision Blizzard. Now he maybe wants to purchase this app. Let's talk about another CEO, Roger.
All right. Starbreeze. So the developer of Payday 3 has fired their CEO, Tobias Sojourn.
Due to poor performance. That's a fucking first, if you ask me.
Yeah.
When do you see a game go so bad, you're like, it's none of you
We're
guys.
gonna
It's
fire the
you.
guy on top, dude.
Right,
Like
right.
he's the problem.
Like, which is in what is considered historically a inversely proportional role, whereas the worse you are at it, generally the more they pay you. They just fucked that whole scheme up.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I kind of like this approach because, like, we always talk about it now. Like, a lot of games are forced to do a lot of things. Like, look at what Warner Brothers did to Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. That game didn't have to be a live service. It didn't have to have microtransactions. But I guarantee you, 9 out of 10, those executives at the top are like, this has to be a live service game, and it forced the hand, and that's why we got a bad game. Did they fire the CEO because of how bad this game was? No, they fucking probably fired 37 different developers, and that's why we have layoffs. Like,
your microtransactions weren't micro enough. You're
Right.
fucking fired. You're scum. Get out of my office.
so to see a developer handle it, I think in the right way, like that sends a message like, fuck, the guy at the very top wasn't safe. We better start doing our job right, or we're gone.
I think it puts a lot of people on notice, for sure.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
It's honestly it's a fascinating development.
It's almost refreshing,
Fascinating, Captain.
Yeah. It really is.
All right, Scott. Obviously, we are recording this via Discord, but Discord was in the news lately because this could be exciting. We'll see what the future is here.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot of weird shit. So Discord actually opened up its development toolkit for the games that are usually embedded in the chat app. So they've opened this up to a lot of developers. So it's going to give them the actual SDK, which will open up the activities section of Discord for them. And so this is where mini games are created. Just all of that. Like if anybody's familiar with like the chat or like text-based games, like those are already there. But we're going to see a lot more expansion in this area of Discord, which I'm pretty pumped for.
Right.
Mhm.
And like I got a
So,
screenshot up here on screen, like y'all can see, and it's like really impressive because like it's not like games that are built into like the chatting necessarily, but it almost looks like it reminds me of like Jackbox, right? It's like a community-based game. Anybody can join, whatever, and you can view it while joining the room, and you can still chat, and it seems pretty awesome. But I was like, like we recently just saw the shutdown of like Flash games, right? Like Mini Clip and all that kind of stuff. Like, does Mini Clip
Recently?
does Mini Clip return? But in Discord, like that'd be interesting. Doubt it, but like we could see games like that return.
Well, and what's nice is so with this, their Discord is also bringing back app pitches. So this is where like developers can pitch prototype apps for Discord for the ideas, and they can secure up to like $30,000 of funding for the app if Discord likes it. So you can have like a Discord Shark Tank going on. So like
That's pretty cool.
it's gonna breed innovation. It's gonna breed like the things that people want to see. And I think we're gonna see a lot of interesting stuff for
I'm
Discord
actually
over
really
the next,
curious to
over the
see how
next
like
year or so.
it would play like if someone was able to create like an OBS but built into Discord where like I could only go in then I could just use Discord and use Discord only, like because the app is all built in and like how much useful that would be as opposed to running OBS and Discord at the same time, if you know what I mean.
Well, yeah,
Just
absolutely.
just just
If it
like
had it,
different applications, yeah.
yeah, if it had its own intrinsic application to be able to do that, where you can either push out, or maybe if you see Discord become more of like a public setting, like maybe there's a public side as well, and you can stream to Discord,
Right.
and people can come in kind of like Twitch.
Yeah.
Now the unfortunate side is I'm not sure if we talked about it last week. Well, we didn't talk about it last week because we weren't here last week. But the interesting part about this is this all the dev focused stuff comes like a week after they laid off about 17% of their employees.
It's perfect.
Which is perfect because they're like, fuck it, we'll get the community to do
Yeah.
it.
Why
Like,
make what we can make you make?
fuck it, we'll do it live. Yeah.
It sounds like
That's
Walmart.
basically, yeah.
Walmart was like, we don't need these cashiers. We can just have self checkout. Oh wait, now it fucked us over in the end.
Instead of
Yeah.
instead of handing out salaries, they can just hand out the occasional $30,000
Right, and that'll be all right.
and fucking call it a day.
That's a lot cheaper. So moving on
Saving
to
money.
some other news here, though, is this one's pretty interesting because I didn't really see this coming. But Turtle Beach recently acquired PDP for $118 million. PDP is the company that is recently known for creating the guitar controller, basically like the Rock Band controller, Guitar Hero, but it's supposed to be used for like the Fortnite festival or any other games that maybe Guitar Hero gets revived. Obviously, with Activision Blizzard being bought out by Xbox, Xbox is interested in reviving some of their older IPs. Maybe Guitar Hero makes a return, and maybe a perfect chance. Like maybe Turtle Beach knows something a little bit more than the rest of the world does. So it makes sense. This is like a different take of the gaming industry, like a game developer buying a game developer. This is peripherals buying another game peripherals, another merger. So hopefully we don't see layoffs out of this, but only time will tell.
It's bound to happen at some point.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more
Not to be a
redundant
negative
positions.
Nancy, but
All right, Roger. Speaking of layoffs, though,
Let's talk about Respawn Entertainment. EA subsidiary Respawn Entertainment is hit with 23 layoffs this week, which is surprising. It's such a small number, but then again, Respawn is probably only a few hundred people.
yeah, I can only imagine. Like, I'm pretty sure they're much bigger than that because of all the projects they have in the works. Like, they make Apex
Yeah.
Legends. They have the Star
But
Wars
how many
Jedi
things are they
series.
getting help from other parts of E EA?
Usually not much. Like Respawn is really
Yeah.
like to themselves. So like they have like 3 or 4 projects in the works because they have
Mhm.
Apex Legends, which is ongoing, Star Wars Jedi #3. They have that Star Wars simulator game that's in the works, the strategy sim, and then they also have a new game set within the Titanfall universe in the works. So they have 4
Mhm.
projects. Whether to scale, how big they are, but still, I don't think they're a small team. I think they're pretty big.
Yeah.
23
So,
then
but
isn't much.
yeah, honestly, it's just such a meager number.
Yeah, just adds to the overall huge number that we already have for this year, though. Unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scott. Another company that begins with E here.
yes, sir. So while Epic and Apple may have had come to a truce for a little bit, they will eventually be becoming direct competitors in the app ecosystem. So Epic Games Store is actually coming to iOS and Android in the EU by the end of this year. Interesting to see how that's going to go.
Yeah. And I'm really curious because I don't know if you guys saw, but there's a bunch of people, like our government is now suing Apple
Yes.
with a lot of their issues too, and I'm wondering that stuff like this is going to come to the United States as well, because a lot of the implementations that the EU has imposed on Apple has only been specific to the European Union and not necessarily here. Like the whole app, being able to sideload apps like this, and have other app stores. The whole transitioning to technically like the Type C cable. I don't think that was universal. I think that was specifically for the EU as well. So like I would love to see it in America because I think we need more competition on the App Store market for the iPhone and Android here in the States.
Agreed, and I could see this. I could see this coming to the states probably soon. I mean, maybe as early as parallel with the EU release. But yeah, Apple's getting shit on a lot for some of the practices that they've been doing over the past couple years. Um, intentionally making Android pictures look worse when they come in, and basically making it so that their product seemed as though it was the only superior product out there and there wasn't anything. And their current argument was, and I'm paraphrasing here, everybody knows these phones aren't that good, was their argument. Everybody already knows that these phones aren't that good, so we couldn't have done that. And I mean, we all know Android and Apple people. I'm an Android guy. There's literal memes about like, oh, when you're talking to a guy, but his text comes up green on your phone.
Yeah, I'm an Apple guy. I understand.
Like shit like that. And like
It
they've
bothers the
perpetuated
fuck out
that.
of me.
Now, yeah, but now they're getting busted up for perpetuating that. And they're like, come on, everybody knows that our phones were shit. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that our tech is outdated and it's overpriced. So they already know that. So we couldn't have been doing any of those things.
Yeah, we don't have this whole culture that we built and ingrained in everyone everywhere. No,
Yeah.
never. People know what we're talking about. People know that we do what we do. We're just doing it.
I mean,
Yeah,
just
they've
look
been
at like
very
one of the
anti-
latest lawsuits they had with Miasmo or whatever, the medical company, for the O2 sensor on their watch. Like they had to stop production of the Apple Watch 9 because it was using a sensor that was apparently copyrighted and patented by another company and didn't have the okay to use it. So then they had to like when they resumed the production, they had to remove that sensor altogether. And I was like, well, damn. Like that shit's crazy. Like clearly they just like what is going on? I just feel like, I mean, obviously it's been a while since Steve Jobs passed away. Unfortunately, R.I.P. to a legend. But ever since Tim Cook took over, like it's been on a decline in my opinion.
You mean Tim Apple, sir?
No, Tim Cook, motherfucker. Like I really have never been a fan of Tim Cook. Like
That
I
is
really
Mr. Apple.
I really missed
Mr.
having
Apple.
Steve Jobs running the ship because like he was that dude. But like it has not been the same ever since.
He was innovative.
Very much so. Now they're not innovative. They make you buy the same phone every year.
Well, I mean, I have an S24 Ultra. That's just my S21 Ultra, but a little better.
Different year.
Yeah, it's a different year. Actually, no. This came with the Samsung AI, which is really.
But
really
I guess
nice.
it's on par with like cars. Like cars are almost the same way. Like
yeah,
for a run of cars that they look exactly the same. Maybe they have one new feature or it's one little this.
Yeah. So in economics, not to
derail the conversation.
Not to derail it, but there's a thing called planned obsolescence that has always been applied to cars and stuff like that. Apple just takes it one step further, and they plan that obsolescence. They plan that obsolescence exactly 365 days after the phone is released.
Yep. And they already got in trouble
Maybe
for that
sometimes
too.
as short as 9 months.
Like their updates used to come out would purposely make your old phone run
We're
slower.
breaking their phones.
Yeah, yes.
And this is part of that. Like this is part of like if you want anything superior, it has to be Apple. Oh, they just released an Apple like the iPhone 14 3 days ago. Well, your iPhone 13 is now dog shit. It doesn't work.
Your phone sucks.
Like your phone sucks. It only goes up to 50%. You can't fucking do this. You can't fucking do that. Ever since
but
that
we'll
update
tell you
happened,
it went up to 100 actually. So we'll tell you the wrong number.
Yeah, as much as I love Apple, there's been a lot of not so pleasant practices that have been going on that have been driving me insane. I just love the fluidity of all of my devices because I mean, I used to have a MacBook. I don't really use it now, so I don't really have no calls there. But I have an iPad, I have the iPhone, I have the Apple Watch, I have the AirPods. Like everything just seamlessly works together without. I don't even have to think about it half the time, and I love it. Like half the time, like I'm working on my iPad, I'll be typing up the itinerary, but I need to copy and paste something from my phone, and just being able to hit the copy button on my phone and then go into the iPad and hitting paste. Like that seems very simplistic of an idea, but like that is really fucking useful.
No, it's very seamless. I see it in real time all the time. My wife, she has Apple MacBook and her phone, and it is seamless. It is very, very nice.
It's fucking insane. Well, did you see
one
the
of the
thing with
only
the side cart thing where you can have like an iPad screen next to your MacBook and like you can drag and drop shit between the two and like they're not connected in any way, but it just fucking works.
The stuff like that is what would make me go over to Apple. The only thing that could get me to go over to Apple more than that is the human rights violations, which they've been actively working on and trying to make more of. But they just haven't gotten to the area yet where I would feel comfortable giving them my money unless I know exactly how many human rights were violated in the creation of my products.
For sure. Last but not least here, Roger, with Steam. I wanted you to cover this one mainly because I didn't really understand too much of what was going here with Steam, but maybe you can explain it to me and the rest
Yeah,
of the
so
community.
Steam used to have a sort of family menu where you could log into the same device as somebody else and you could register them as a co-user for your device. Cool, right? You know, it allowed you to here I'll install a game on your computer and you can play it. Well, now Steam has introduced families. This week, Steam Families came out. You're allowed to add up to 5 people. And it kind of works like families do for other systems.
Mm-hmm.
But the really saving grace of the families menu is now you don't have to be on the same device. You buy a game on your Steam. If you're not playing it, somebody else in your household and one of the other 5 people logged into one of the million devices you have in your household can play anything out of your library. So, like, if I buy a game, Jordan can install it now on her computer, free of charge, and play it.
Okay. So it's almost like a much better version what Xbox does, because Xbox does it currently where like I can technically game share with one other person. Like I can sign into my account on their Xbox and set it as home, but I sign in here and I buy the games here, and then like they get whatever I purchase, and like
Mm-hmm.
we would just split the money. Like it's the roundabout way. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like that where like one person buys the game, but then all 5 people have the game, kind of.
Well,
Yes.
it's I would say instead of being a better version of what's on Xbox, I would say it's a better version of the system they already have in place
Yeah. It
for
it
game sharing.
they've been doing this game share for a while now, but now it's an even better version.
Yeah, it's just way more streamlined, which is gonna be fantastic.
I mean, I hate
Can't
to
wait.
say it, but I feel like Roger, as many games as you buy, like you and Jordan and like 3 other people should hop on like the same thing and share it. Like that would make probably the most sense, but not my pockets to talk about on that
Well,
one.
I mean, I'm sure after this podcast, me and Uncle Roger will decide
Uncle Roger.
to see what we can do for
Yeah,
the family sharing.
yeah, exactly. But that is all of the industry news that we got for you this week. That was a pretty busy one there, but we are not done because we have an ass ton of fucking gaming news. Let's go ahead and check that out. All right, so kicking it off here with the Xbox news. Like someone had to go use the restroom, I see. But kicking off here with some news from Xbox is that they officially reached a deal with Toys for Bob for their first game since going independent. And obviously, we know a couple weeks back, Toys for Bob left Activision Blizzard, aka Xbox, and they wanted to become independent. Awesome for them because they have not been able to create their own shit for like 30 years. Um, but Xbox turned around and said, "Hey, we want to support you. We're going to fully fund your next project for Xbox, and it'll be awesome to see what they make because it's going to apparently be a new IP. Because I think they said they also want to get away from the whole Spyro and Crash Bandicoot because that's really what they were known for back in the day. So
Mhm.
maybe we get a new like platformer style game because that'd be really awesome. I feel like Xbox is missing like that kid friendly like platformer game. Like you know what I mean? Like Nintendo obviously has it, PlayStation has it. Xbox just doesn't have that in their portfolio.
Mhm.
They have everything else, but they're missing that. So hopefully we get that. Next up is a lot of updates for a lot of games that are coming out or already out and stuff like that. So we have Age of Empires 4 Season 7 is coming out, and this the main highlight here is that it's bringing crossplay between console and PC. Obviously, it recently released on consoles, so now it allows you to be able to play with each other there. Um, that sounded really pause on that one. Um, but yeah, that's pretty cool there. Next up here, this one is a bit of a head scratcher. It's like Game Pass with a Game Pass. It's almost like Inception in a way. Excuse me. Mojang has introduced the Minecraft Marketplace Pass. It is a $4 a month access to a rotating catalog of Minecraft items, packs, and DLC. Basically, Game Pass, but for Minecraft specifically. You know what I mean?
No, it's games with gold for Minecraft.
Yeah. No, I mean, because it makes sense for it because it's rotating. You always have access for it as long as it's there and
It's
whatnot.
a
Like
battle pass for Minecraft.
games with gold actually meant like you owned the shit, and when it went
Mhm.
away, you still owned it. where this is literally just Game Pass but for Minecraft. But it seems pretty cool because there's been a lot of like DLC that's been added to Minecraft that I wanted to check out in the past, but I was like, I'm not paying for that. I don't want to buy that. But now like $4, I can dibble dab and kind of like how we do for Game Pass, right? I
Dibble
don't
dab.
I don't want to buy those games, but Game Pass gives me that option to dive in and go, oh, I like this game. Oh, this game's shitty. I'm not going to play this no more and delete it and move on. So it's pretty cool there. Obviously, no, Minecraft is like the biggest game, period. So like awesome to see there. Just really interesting. I wonder if they're going to make like any kind of like package deal with Game Pass. If you have Game Pass, you get this for like half the price or included or whatever they want to do in the future. So we'll see if that actually happens or not. Speaking of battle passes, though, that you were just talking about, Fallout 76, interesting enough here, they are getting their first paid for season pass, aka the battle pass, after 15 seasons. Um, all the seasons before, they used to give you like free scorecards that you would work toward and unlock different items that were like kind of like Halo Infinite does with their new ones, where it's like 20 tiers. So it wasn't that much, but they were free.
They weren't making enough money.
Right, pretty much. I'm actually
I
surprised
mean,
like Fallout 76 gets as much support as it does because like the game, it's just meh.
what game?
Right. Next up, though, Overwatch 2. This is actually some big time news here because all heroes now and moving forward will be free and you will no longer need a battle pass. Before you had to unlock them via the battle pass. Now, everybody just gets all characters at all times. But with the upcoming updates, they are working on new maps along with reworking some of the current maps. I know one of the ones that they did highlight was the Coliseum map, apparently. So we'll see how that plays out. We have not touched Overwatch in such a long time, but apparently they are approaching 100 million players on Overwatch. So that's a pretty impressive number there. In a
I
game
mean,
that seems
like, it's
dead.
not
3 more.
concurrent.
They just need 3 more. What do you say, guys? No? Yeah,
Yeah.
no, same.
Because, like, we're counted in that number. Like, all of us sitting here right now, we're in that number of players.
It's fair. It's fair.
I
It's
do
definitely not
consent.
concurrent like active players and stuff like that, but like having 100 million people play the game, that's a lot, honestly.
Mhm.
But last up, Roger, you tossed this into the news is that unfortunately the PVE, any of the content that they were putting out, like the stories and stuff, has officially been canceled because it just did not succeed well. Did
I
not do
wonder
well.
why.
It didn't succeed. It didn't start. Didn't do anything to fucking succeed. Like,
It was expensive as fuck to even try and do it.
it was expensive for us.
It was like what, $15 per story or something like that. Like it doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't. But next up here, another one from the whole Activision Blizzard portfolio is World of Warcraft is getting a new limited time mode, and this is in the form of a battle royale known as Plunderstorm. You can only use newly created characters that are specifically made for this new mode. So, like your current characters that you've been playing for like last 20 years, can't use them. Interesting enough, like there's not like an unlimited amount of abilities that you can click through and use. You're limited to only 6, and there's no more like auto attacks that happen like in regular World of Warcraft. So like everyone's like, it feels really weird and out of place.
Yeah, it's just a whole new, like, it's just a way to try and reinvigorate a dying game in a way. But it's essentially somebody decided to just a mod mod World of Warcraft like Warcraft.
Yeah.
The developers are just like, hey, we're not really doing that great in the actual game, so let's just try to make another game in the game.
Right. They could have just made this a whole separate experience, and then like if it succeeded, you keep it around. If not, just cancel it. Like just make it free to play.
That's what they're doing here. They're testing the waters with people that have the game, and then maybe if it's successful, it'll be something else entirely. I'm gonna play devil's advocate on this.
Yeah.
And say that this is a pretty cool like concept and something fresh that anybody who's played World of Warcraft has not had before.
And what I was gonna say though, go ahead.
You don't even have classes.
Yeah.
Like it's so I'm interested. When I first saw this, I was like, I might hop in and throw a tenner down for a month and see what's going on. And just see. But yeah, it's interesting. It's fun. I mean, it's one of those things like I considered getting back into World of Warcraft just to
fuck around.
Just to fuck around and find out.
Exactly. But yeah, what I was getting at though is like they could have done it without making it a whole new realm and stuff like that, it feels like. So it it definitely does feel uh it feels a little weird. But a lot of people are saying that this feels oddly reminiscent of the spell break we were looking at and
Hmm.
that we didn't get.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So another one of their games though is getting an update with Season 4. Roger, obviously you dropped this into there again. I love the headline. It was like they are trying to kill Diablo 4 or something like that. And I was like, I don't know if they're trying to
The
kill it.
the new way Diablo is coming out, they're trying to the game itself is now dead as it was and is a whole new game. And I was like, yeah, it kind of is. It is a whole new game now.
Yeah, especially with like these new updates, like the loot crafting, new dungeons, new bosses, quality of life, and much more. But like the major update here is like the fact that the loot crafting, right? You were kind of explaining it to me, like instead of having to like scavenge through like 100 of the same item to get the exact version that you want, you can just fucking craft the bitch and then you're good. And I was just like, I like that concept because I don't know about you, but I have very limited time. I don't want to grind and try and collect the same fucking item 100 times to get the one ability or characteristic of it that I want when I can just go, let's craft the bitch and now I'm good. Like,
Yep. It's a better way of crafting and grinding because it used to be like, oh, like you have to click, all right, currency. All right, did I get what I want? Currency, did I get what I want? Currency, did I get what I wanted? I finally got what I wanted. Like
yeah, no.
it took a lot.
Yeah, fuck that. Like we know like the gaming right now is in that whole games as a service, and we understand that there are too many games as a service, and you got to make that playing the game a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, where I don't have to invest all of my time into.
A
Because
year.
like I if you want me to play World of Warcraft, Diablo, Call of Duty, Overwatch 2, Grounded, like these are all Xbox games. How can I play all of those games in a live service format and be able to accomplish everything? I can't. Like it's just not possible. So by speeding the process up like this helps tremendously.
Hmm.
But moving on here to the next game that is getting a massive but final update is Grounded. That are getting their fully yoked update. Comes with this, you get new games plus. Fire Red and Black Ants get queens. Infused bugs are coming. New molars, new achievements. You can upgrade your gear past level 9. There's new mutations, new weapon variants, and then there's something pretty cool. There's called the secret door. You have to beat the Java Matic, Broad Mother, Mantis and Wasp Queen to open this door. But the question is what is behind the door is what they're teasing. So this and like again, this is the final large update coming to the game. They'll have some quality of life minor updates here and there still, but will be available April 16th, 2024. But what is awesome to see here is that this game was originally like a digital only kind of game, and they have partnered with Limited Run Games, and you'll be able to buy a physical copy of Grounded, and it comes with like it's the yoked edition. So I thought that was pretty cool. I actually just recently bought a game from Limited Runs. They added Pentiment to their catalog for games, and I've never played Pentiment, and obviously I love collecting games. But they have the regular version is $40, but then they have this really awesome like collector's edition, which I'm gonna get it up here on screen. It comes with a lot of different items here, and let me get this blown up here for you so everybody can see this a little bit better. But I just love the collectors like the memorabilia that kind of comes with it, and just like it really vibes with the
You get
game.
one of each. You get one version for each console.
No, that just shows you that
Oh,
it's
okay.
available in those three. But yeah, 125 you get the collector's edition. So awesome to see there. And then next up, though, in regards to Xbox, is their services, Game Pass additions, another massive overhaul, like one of the better ones we've seen in a while. Lightyear Frontier came to all platforms already. MLB The Show 2024 came to cloud and console already. The Quarry, which was a pretty interesting one, it's kind of like a horror thriller, like teenage story game where you make a lot of decisions, came to cloud and console already. Big one here that I know Roger, you and Lunacy Arts have been talking about is Evil West came out to all platforms to Game Pass. This is kind of like a vampires like bounty
Left 4 Dead
hunter.
with vampires
Yeah,
in a Wild Wild West, but
yeah,
for 2 players instead
yeah.
of 4.
It seems like a really cool concept. I know when this game dropped, it took the everyone was excited about this one, and this is a good one to check out. So definitely on my backlog to check out. Next up, coming out on the 26th, you get Terra Invicta coming to the PC. Obviously, we know about Diablo 4 coming to console and PC on March 28th, along with Hot Wheels Unleashed 2 Turbocharged. also on the 28th. This
One
looks
of
pretty
these
cool.
things
Yeah,
is
because like
not like the other.
right, I played the original Hot Wheels Unleashed when it was on the Game Pass because it's actually about to leave here on the 31st, and it was actually a pretty fun experience with the like arcade feel to the racing game. It kind of reminded me like the old classic Hot Wheel games with a like Burnout Need for Speed feel as well. It was pretty cool. Next up here though is Ark Survival Ascended. This is the like remake of the first Ark game. Like this game was rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5, so it's like new graphics, new everything, includes all the DLC and stuff like that. Obviously, we know Ark 2 is still in development, so this kind of like leads up to it. This will become available on April 1st. And then just a quick tie-in though, there was a animated series called Arc, the animated series that was shadow dropped on Paramount Plus back on the 21st, and it has a really impressive like voice acting. It has Vin Diesel, Russell Crowe, Gerard Butler, Michelle Yeoh, Elliot Page, and Carl Urban. So pretty star-studded cast there. Next up, though, we got FN Formula One 23 came to cloud because it was already available on all the other platforms, but that's coming out on April 2nd. And then Super Hot Mind Control Delete coming to all platforms also on the 2nd. But we are losing games on the 31st. Hot Wheels Unleashed, Infinite Guitars, and MLB The Show 23. Makes sense. But guys, that is all the news I got for you this week in regards to Xbox news. So I'm going to pass it over to Roger.
All right, let's talk about PlayStation. PlayStation has let's see here, 8 new games coming to the PS Plus premium editions. We've got NBA 2K24, Marvel Midnight Suns, Resident Evil 3, Lego DC Supervillains, Mystic Pillars Remastered, Blood Bowl 3, Super Neptunia RPG, and Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We're also going to be seeing some classic editions. So if you've never played Jack and Daxter: The Lost Frontier, Cool Borders, God's Eater Burst, or Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy, or JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battles R, you can catch those on this month's PS Plus.
It's pretty awesome to see because, like, I've never.
I wanted to play Midnight Suns.
Oh yeah, Midnight Suns. Yeah, I actually bought it. It was on like a super sale at GameStop, so I bought it. Um, it seems really cool. But I was pretty interesting about the premium classics being added, like the whole Jack and Dexter. Like that's the first game of the series that's being added. Like that's an OG
Hmm.
classic game, and like if they start to add like their entire backlog of classic games from the PS1, the PS2 to this catalog, like it could really sway a lot of people. Like it makes me not need this PS2 Slim.
Yeah.
It makes me not need it. And honestly, I don't need this because all of the games from this are on my Xbox already. So I don't really need this. It's really for collector's purposes. But like, if I'm looking to do my retro gaming stuff, I just need an Xbox Series X and a PS5, and I'm golden.
Hmm.
So that's awesome to see there. But what's going on with the hardware?
Yeah, so for hardware, Sony, they decided to hit the pause button on PSVR 2 production because they've got too many unsold units.
Oh no!
Who would have thought?
Who could have seen this coming?
Who? Who, I say?
Anybody? Who?
Everyone.
Oh my god! Anybody with a set
Everybody.
of fucking eyes.
And the thing is, we were calling this like when they were before it was released. They were like, "We're gonna have 2 million units available for purchase day one." We're
For
like,
who?
"For who?"
I wish we had a way to pull up like the older episodes where we can just like throw a clip in like live. Like, here's
Immediately, yeah.
what we said.
Maybe once
When they
AI
dropped
gets built into Discord and OBS, we could
and
do
it,
that.
it was like, oh yeah, who could have seen this coming? And then flashback to when we said, yeah, that's never gonna fucking happen.
But let's talk about the big updates on the software for the PS5. There's a big UI update coming with live wallpapers, widgets, friends activity, and this all is going to be currently betaed in the US only.
Yeah, I got to pull it up here. I actually like this update
Hmm.
to it. Honestly, it looks pretty clean, and I like the whole widgets look to it.
Yeah, because
I,
now instead of having like have to go through each one individual tab and then just it's a infinite scroll wall, which is horrible.
yeah, it is. I definitely love this because like obviously Android had widgets for the longest, but whenever they added widgets to the iPhone, I was like, this is such a clean look. I don't really use them now anymore,
The future is now.
but it makes more sense to use widgets on like a game console, like being able to look on those that quick information like with achievements or the
Hmm.
battery and stuff like that. Like that's pretty awesome to see. All right, Scott, it's your turn for covering the one of the three pillars of gaming. I mean, one of the four pillars of gaming. Sorry.
Yeah, you all thought that they had a lot of information coming out of Xbox and PlayStation. Get ready for all of this, right? Nintendo services, Nintendo Switch Online is getting 3 new additions coming out now, and that's going to be Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, and Mario Tennis. You would know them from the Game Boy and or Game Boy Color, respectively. Wow, that was a lot to go through. My God.
Might need an
I'm
inhaler
surprised
to
we
get your
made it.
oxygen back.
I'm surprised we made that. Yeah, in as little time as we did. That was crazy. Sheesh. But that does wrap up everything that Nintendo has to offer this week, as far as our gaming news.
Yeah, man. So we got some interesting news here that obviously was a head scratcher when what happened before, but Multiverses is returning. Even though we did like it was in such a weird state. It was in beta that we didn't know it was in beta, but had a microtransaction shop. Then it went away, and then they weren't sure if they were coming back. But hey, they're back on May 28th, 2024. And the big one here is that they are moving to Unreal Engine 5, like the rest of the gaming industry, it seems like. So I'm gonna get the trailer up here. See if they show some of the gameplay. I don't really want to show him talking, but honestly, the game looks pretty solid. Like you could see the difference between like when it was in the beta form and what it is now. Like the character um are way more detailed. Obviously, like the animation seems a lot smoother. Even like with the hair, obviously you see there with Wonder Woman, like it looks pretty good, pretty solid. Like maybe this returns and this is what we need. This is what the game should have been. Maybe they took a lot of the feedback from the beta with quotes. I just hope they have a lot of content lined up. Like that was probably the biggest issue with the game when it first launched. Is like they were supposed to release these new characters all the time and new maps, but like they weren't
They
coming
hit
at
a
a
wall.
they
They
weren't coming
just
at a consistent
they just
frequency enough. But we know they have a massive fucking catalog to pull from. Like it should be easy for them to do this. Like they have some of
honestly
the
all you need
easiest things to
though.
do.
All you need though is Marvin Martian.
Yeah.
You know his ass gonna be OP. I've seen him in Space Jam. I know what he can do.
Actually, fun fact. You ever realize the reason why he's the referee in the game?
It's because he's an alien and a Looney Tune.
Yeah, ain't that shit crazy? Like, I read that shit the other day and I was like, my mind like exploded. I was like, wait
The
a minute,
lore we're learning.
crazy. It's crazy times. But moving on here to Roger, a game that are you gonna play on the PC?
I don't know because I have it already. I own it. So
Yeah.
like Final Fantasy 16 is coming to the PC with the PC port now being in the final stages of optimization. They'll have a demo here soon before the official release.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, I think their DLC comes out soon.
Yeah, well the next yeah,
Yeah.
I think it should, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I just feel like this game was such like a flop, but people are like, "Oh, it's so good."
Honestly, Final Fantasy 16, I'm a Final Fantasy guy. Like I
Yeah, they're
I think I like to say that I have you know, I don't know, backing to what I try to say here by playing a bunch of Final Fantasy games, and this wasn't it.
right.
This was not that game, sir.
No, and obviously we talked about the reasons why, but yeah, they do have their next DLC, The Rising Tide, releasing on April 18th, so that's right around the corner. So maybe it comes out around that time, like whether it's a demo or the full PC release. But Scott, let's talk about the game that you have been playing lately with PUBG.
Yes, sir. So PUBG is actually, like everyone else, going to be moving to the Unreal Engine 5 in 2024. So just like everyone else. But they're also going to be adding a lot of updates for just overall gameplay. Namely, we're looking at destructive environments. So they're kind of pulling that away from Fortnite a little bit, but not in the same sense.
More like Battlefield, but yeah.
But more like Battlefield, which they think is going to allow players to just kind of find new creative ways to either hole up somewhere or make new attack plans. And then they're also working on their anti-cheat measures. So their total bans from 2022 to 2023 was actually up like 33%. And so they've been actively working to make sure that you just can't cheat in this game, which is another thing that I also find very fun and enjoyable about this. Something that Call of Duty could probably learn from,
Hopefully.
instead of just throwing up a splash screen and saying that there's an anti-cheat. But they have a lot more. They have a lot more coming as well. When you pull up the updates, I mean, you're looking at you got the destructive map, but they're looking at they basically want to rework some of the maps that they're working on. They're going to be moving their gunplay updates to every 2 months now to make that a little more frequent for everybody to kind of work on balancing all of those. They're going to be working on team systems, survival items, character actions, uh, more modes to allow players to do that. They're going to be working on collabs and skins, gun skins, vehicle skins. They're going to be reworking their matchmaking systems to help with that. The map rotations are going to be getting different updates. They're doing bot refinements, ranked gameplay updates, and then the rewards that go with that. They will be keeping their test server dedicated for anybody who wants to go and play in the test server and offer some feedback. But yeah, just a lot of stuff coming out for PUBG. I can't wait to see how it's going to look with the Unreal 5.
That's what I'm saying.
It's gonna be
Because the
it's gonna
game
look
did not
fucking
look
awesome.
that great to begin with. So like them
And
switching
it
to this
still
engine,
doesn't.
yeah, I know. But them
Yeah,
switching
it's
to Unreal Engine 5 could be like a night and day different. Like it could look like an entirely different game.
yeah. It could look so good. So really excited to see how this is gonna look after they implement that and after they
Maybe I
rework
return when this
maps.
happens.
Or maybe you just grow up and return now. And then that way you can enjoy it. You can get the true before and after. You can be like, man, this
I
is
got
like
the old
like
school
ass
running joke I used to have with my friends.
someday.
I have the physical digital version of PUBG. Literally when it ported to the Xbox, I was like, I pre-ordered it from GameStop, and I was like, oh cool, I'm gonna go pick it up. Blah blah blah. Pick it up. It's in like this cardboard like box. It's not even like in its like normal plastic case, and it doesn't even have a fucking disc in it. It just has a code to download it when you get home. And I'm like, I bought the physical
Why'd I do
digital
this?
version
That
of
was
the
an
game.
expensive ass piece of paper.
Yeah, but I still have it. It's on. It looks like a regular case on the side, so you know it's in line over there in alphabetical order. But
Nice. But yeah, they're also working on user generated content servicing. So some map building, maybe some mods that get introduced.
Fortnite.
It'd be fun. Yeah.
Okay. It's crazy to think like so many games have transitioned to Unreal Engine 5, and I'm sure it's not the end of it here.
Oh no, absolutely
I
not.
mean, like
It's
Unreal
such a
Engine's been out
superior
for a
engine.
while,
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
and
they're on
it's
their
just,
Unreal Engine 5.4 just came out the other day, so
hmm
Hmm.
and it's an awesome engine, but the learning curve is steep.
yeah, it seems like it. So right now we're in like a list of content that's a lot of games that are getting a lot of content updates. So the finals, which is another shooter game, has season 2 coming out here soon. With that comes new gadgets. So you get gateways, which is like the portal gun basically, or if you played Splitgate recently, where you can create portals and go through and come out the other side and kill. Um, that's pretty cool that it's coming to this game. Data reshapers, dematerializer is also coming. There's a new game mode known as the 5v5 power shift. There's a new map, specializations, new weapons. There's a weekly rewarded circuit, revamped revamping the ranked league, and also private matches are on the way. So this will be a really big content update for this game that's been doing extremely well. So awesome to see there. But Roger, is it time to return to an a game?
So Primal has announced season 4, and it's a battle. It's Mega Man themed, which is really cool. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like I'm over here like sounds pretty fucking cool.
What else is coming with it?
We got new betas, new beta variants, new rigs, new modules, and a whole new game loop called Time Loop Rebellion, which is actually really nifty. There'll also be custom matches now so that you don't have to go straight into playing PvP or online with people you don't know.
Right. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that was a really fun game. Like,
Hmm
I had no qualms about it. It was a really enjoyable experience. But it's a game that you play with friends, never by yourself.
Yeah, like so many other games. Like I don't play 4v4 Halo with anyone but
Right.
friends because fuck real people.
Like Call of Duty's like that. Battlefield was like that. Like any shooter, honestly, is no longer enjoyable if you're like solo it. Like I remember
hmm
Halo back in the day. Like they literally had a game mode. Like it was like Solo Slayer or whatever. Um, and that shit was really dope. it was really really fun to do it then, but not no more. But Scott, let's talk about a game that we were excited for, but like came out like as a dumpster that was on fire.
Battlefront fans can't have nice things.
Never,
We're not
never.
allowed to have fun things. Somehow Asper uh, released an unfinished version of a finished game. I don't know how they did it. Released and it had like 10K players at launch, but it had like the server capacity was like 6 people.
It had
servers.
two,
bad.
2 or 3,
It had
64
3
person.
servers online.
Yeah, it had like what 200
It's about
and
200
some odd.
players,
It
yeah,
was
roughly
fucking
200.
awful, fucking absolutely awful. I don't I don't know how they did it. You have to actually try to
Make
fuck something up this bad. You have to actually try.
And they did.
I called it.
They're
dude. I
experts.
called
The next
this.
bullet point, you know.
They're experts at all of it. Not only this, there's a modder that claims the collection used his work without their permission. So not only did they fuck up a game that was already finished and great, they stole somebody's work to fuck it up and fucked that out. It was. I am ashamed and claim that the footage of Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection that appeared in a trailer suggested that the developer was using his mod.
Yeah.
And their, of course, immediate rebuttal was that they had mistakenly used footage of the mod.
Nah.
And it was a placeholder. But like, well, where did the footage come from? Sir, why did you have the footage? you mean you mistakenly put that in there?
Right.
Yeah, I think that's what
and apparently
I
it's
think.
really noticeable because like it was like one of the additional extra characters that wasn't in the original game that was added later or like a certain version of the game. Like that character stance was stolen from someone else's character stance, and he modded it that way. So then like when the
Yep.
game came out, it still had that same stance in the game with that character, and you're like, that should not have been a thing. That was my route.
Yeah. No.
Dude, I
But,
called this weeks in advance. I was
yeah.
like, this is
so
this is
disappointed,
not going to be
man.
good.
I mean, it seems like
I
they fixed the
was-
problem since like the game is playable, but like
it's still mostly negative on Steam. If not still it's mostly negative. Like 20% of the Steam reviews are even something that could be considered positive. And like
Jeez.
those
Hey,
are
Dragon's
like,
Dogma
I
2 has
played it.
better ratings now.
Those are like I played it. But like there's like honestly, if you ever get a chance, just look at some of the comments that you get because it's like playing this version of the game is like cheating on your wife, except instead of a hot mistress, it's just Jabba the Hutt pegging you. Like just random shit. Like and you can see when the products were refunded, and it's like my disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined. Product refunded. Like they somehow fucked up a finished game.
that's
And that's why I originally didn't agree with you, Roger, because I was like, it's a finished game. What are they gonna do? Make it look nicer? And then I'm like, wow, that didn't age well at all. They really fucking screwed
I'll
the pooch
have
on
you
this.
know that I'm always right.
They absolutely
Oh man.
shit this. Like this, they shit this particular bed. They somehow took an absolute classic that was probably gonna blow
Beloved
up the
by
internet.
fans.
It was probably gonna blow up the internet if they fucking nailed this, and they did exactly
buy
the
the shit
opposite.
day one.
I'm so happy I didn't buy this shit for $35.01.
My dude, you were like, I'm going to get this on PC because everyone's gonna be playing it.
I
And I
was
was
waiting,
like,
dude.
"No,
I
don't
was
think
like,
so, bro."
and then just nope. It's bad. It's awful,
Damn, dude.
It's awful.
It feels bad to be right.
I really
It's
feel
one of those times like you don't want to say "I told you so."
right.
Yeah, it's one of those
Because-
times where I'm like, I felt bad for everyone around me who was like, I'm so excited for this game. And I'm like, good, I'm glad. I hope you have fun with it. And then everyone's like, oh my God, this is horrible. And I was like, sorry.
Sorry.
Saw that coming, bud.
So I probably should have
Take
rearranged
us
these
off of this. I'm
articles.
sad.
Yeah, I should have
I'm
rearranged these
sad.
articles a little bit better here. But the next one here was Kyokin Interactive, the developer behind the Deliver Us games, which is like to Deliver Us the Moon, Deliver Us Mars, which are two games that I played and I really enjoyed. They recently have shared 5 new games that they have shown to 40 different publishers, and nobody wants to back these games and nobody wants to
Mm-hmm.
publish these games. And it's like
Ouch.
they were just talking about the. I really wanted to talk about this because like it's an indie developer, and they were like they just wanted to show you like how difficult it can be to be an indie developer. You can have two well received games, critically received games, and you still won't get the support that you need.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, that's rough because I really fucking enjoyed those games, and the games that they put out, like the 5 new ones that they kind of announced, were like pretty solid concepts, and I was like, someone has to pick these guys up. That's a really fun experience, but
But they weren't live service.
exactly that.
I don't miss a chance, dude.
Not at all, dude. Like
I don't
it's
miss.
so bad that like the gaming industry really wants to ride the live service games, but nobody wants live
Yeah,
service games. Like
it's it's the do you not have phones of 2024?
right.
Like just being, I had to look at the calendar here for a second, and be like, it is 2024, right?
I
Yeah,
did
and
that
we're
today. I
still
was
on
like, I
this.
was writing the year down. I was like, is it 23 or is it 24?
What
Oh, it's
fucking year
24.
is it?
But
Fuck.
all right, Roger. Let's talk about another shooter that is getting or just got a new update.
All right, so let's talk about Battlefield 2042. So season 7 just came out, or yeah, just came out on the 19th. We have Turning Point. It comes with new maps, new modes, new weapons, and new bundles and skins. What everyone loves, more bundles.
Yeah,
I
I really
just
wish like the game that I'm bringing the
we were
trailer for,
promised.
like the game that we have now. If this would have been the game at launch, could have been so fucking big that they really
It
fucking
would have
dropped the
been
ball.
huge.
They really
It
shit
would
this
have been
bed
huge.
too. They probably shit the same bed whoever with Asper too. Like like I hop into Battlefield 2042 from time to time. One, it's on Game Pass, but two, I already fucking bought it. But it's still a fun experience. Like it's a nice alternative to the Call of Duty experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, especially with like they have the smaller maps that you can play like the TDM in, or you can hop in the Rush where those massive games happen all the time. And like the content, man, is just so great that they're. But what's been bothering me though is like they've been putting out like their roadmaps, and their roadmap like design looks identical to Call of Duty's design, and that shit's really been bothering me. Like you're not putting any effort into it. Like, all right, here it is. I'm gonna get it back up on screen. You're telling me this doesn't look like what Call of Duty does when they announce their new seasons? Like the exact same thing?
Corporate wants you to tell the difference between these two
They're
pictures.
the same picture.
They're literally the same picture.
Like, there's no fucking way that you would tell me that if that didn't say Call of Duty right there instead of Battlefield, that I wouldn't think
I
otherwise.
if you put Call of Duty, Warzone, or Modern Warfare 3 on there, it's the exact same picture.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mind
the
fucking
exact
blown.
same thing.
So
How like, yo, can I copy your homework?
nah, just
Yeah,
change it up
just
a little
Yeah,
make
bit.
it
but
look a little different.
don't make it look
So he
don't
wrote
make it
his
look
name
too
on it
obvious.
instead of my name on it, you know.
Like, god damn.
Yeah, so bad there. So obviously we're in a row of running with games that are just getting constant updates, and Destiny 2 has been around for a while, and it's still kicking and screaming.
Yeah, one of the few updates I don't think we'll be bitching about is going to be Destiny 2's Into the Light update. So they're going to be doing a lot of changes here coming to the big content update. That's going to be coming out on April 9th. They're going to have a new mode, which is going to be Onslaught, which is basically it's your wave based horde mode. But they have a lot of stuff coming out for that. I mean, it should be fun. Haven't played Destiny 2 in a really long time, but yeah, as you're seeing here up on screen, so it's three players, no season pass required. The playlist features 10 waves, challenge variant. There's 5 sets of 10 waves. Solo is possible, but impossible to complete according to them. So it's challenge accepted on behalf of a lot of people that that are going to be doing that 100%. So the higher tier challenge actually requires a pre-made team. Other versions have matchmaking, and then Shax serves as an announcer and Shax serves as an announcer and vendor for Onslaught.
And it's interesting enough because I was talking with Roger in a separate chat that he's not, I don't think you don't think you've played Destiny 2 ever. And the fact that like I beat Destiny 2 when it first dropped and I try to hop back into Destiny 2 and it is like a way fucking different game than what it was at launch. And it's like there's so much going on in the game, but like it's set up now to like for those new players because like it kind of guides you along the path a little bit easier because there's
Hmm.
so much fucking shit you can do in the game. It kind of explains what each different activity is, like what type of event you're doing, what content you're fucking playing, because they also have
Why you're
content that
doing it.
rotates you. Like it is really like hold your hand, but like then it lets you experience it. Like in the experience, you're experiencing it yourself, but getting to that experience, they're like, this is what's going on. This is how we're going doing it. This is what you're going to do. So it's a really approachable game. So it's easy to hop in, and you can kind of just get caught right back up.
Hmm.
And I might do just that. Who knows?
Maybe. So moving on to a game that I was really fucking excited about and then really pissed off about in about a week span. Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown has a roadmap announced. Yay! Um, they have a lot of content coming out for a game that I mean I can't knock it. Like apparently it could be a run for like game of the year. Like it's really received well. It's doing really well. Just I think it came at a bad time for me. Maybe that's why. Maybe when I return to this game, I'm like, oh, it's just as good
It
as I
deserves
remember it.
its own category.
Yeah.
My man gave Assassin's Creed the "It's not you, it's me."
So, with this is their post-launch roadmap. So this month they're going to be receiving the Warriors Path, which comes the speedrun mode, permadeath mode, and new outfits. Then in spring of 2024, you get Boss Attack, which has the boss run and more new outfits. And then in the summer of 2024, you have Divine Trials, which is new combat, platform, and puzzle challenges, along with new amulets and more outfits again. And but the big part here is later in 2024, they have a new story DLC where they take the story, it beats me. So I'm really curious to see what they do there and how that all plays out. So maybe by the time I beat the game, I'll understand like maybe they can add on to the story. But like if the story feels like it ended, then I don't know where they can go from here. All right, Roger, let's talk about a game that we kind of referenced a little bit earlier today, but it
Yeah,
was
I'm
an
not sure
interesting
why.
story.
Yeah, I'm not sure why you want me to cover Apex Legends
No,
here,
but it's
but
the story. It's the story behind it
yeah,
because you
it's
dropped
the
the article in
story.
there.
You're right. You're right. So Apex Legends, a streamer was hacked mid tournament play, like literally in the middle of a tournament game. Dude gets hacked.
That
That
shit's so
that
funny.
I just what?
It's unreal. I just don't know. I don't know why they.
When I saw that, I was like, what?
Yeah,
Huh?
that's that's awful. So it's
What?
like yeah. So it's like they found like aimbot and other hacks were added to their PCs in the middle of this match. So like, there's actually like a Twitch clip, and it shows like Apex hacking global series by Destroyer 2009 and random repeating over in chat as he's realized that this stuff was like dumped onto his machine, and he takes his hands off the control and he's like, I can see everyone.
I can
And then he's
see
just like
it
he's like
all.
this he's like I can see everyone. And then so yeah, so it was an Imperial Howl, and he said, I have aimbot right now. And he shouts and he's like, you see a clip and he's like, I can't shoot.
Yeah.
And he just starts going and you just start seeing that in the chat. Um, he tried to play, but he abandoned after that. But since then, the actual volunteers at the anti-cheat police department have issued a PSA saying there's currently an RCE exploit being abused in Apex Legends, and that could be delivered from the game itself,
Which is crazy.
or it's anti-cheat protection. They can deliver the cheat through the game's anti-cheat protection. Yeah, and this was with the anti-cheat police sit there and they go, I would advise against playing any games protected by EAC or any EA titles. Right now. Like I would advise against that if you don't want shit dropped on your machine in the middle of a tournament. You might not want to
Or
play.
in the middle of just anything.
Right, just
They're
playing the
just like
game and you're like,
absolutely
what
not.
the
Yeah,
fuck is going on? Someone just starts fucking with you. You have no idea what's
absolutely.
going on.
awful. Like the dude just screaming, like I can see everyone. And he just dips out of the game.
Honestly,
Oh my
it just feels like EA to me, doesn't it? It just feels like EA some days. You're like, really?
yeah.
Really,
Yeah.
EA?
It's
Again?
who else but EA? If not EA, Ubisoft.
and
Just
that's
had to throw that
why.
one in there.
And honestly, like this clearly goes to show like the issue that we have at hand with like online tournaments versus like LAN tournaments, like the old school LAN tournaments, like how Call of Duty does it. Call of Duty is strictly LAN. I know like Valorant, League of Legends, those are all LAN tournaments. Like Apex was like, we're gonna do a tournament, but like it's online.
Not LAN.
LAN, not LAN. We're gonna do it so anybody have access to your
It's a,
internet, and you're
it's
fucked.
a, it's a
That's the
really,
issue that we're
really
gonna
weird
have.
time. Really weird time to stress test your anti-cheat system. It's a really fucking wrong time to do that. But moving on from that, we do finally have a name from Skydance's new Marvel game. This is the game that's being led by Amy Hennig. This is going to be 1943 Rise of Hydra right here that you're seeing on the screen. Clearly no sound because we like being able to do this every Sunday. But so it looks fun. Basically, it focuses around about 4 heroes who have to kind of work together, overcome their differences, to form an alliance to confront their common enemy. And as the name would suggest, we see the rise of Hydra in this.
Right. And obviously, this is set given 1943. This is in the middle of World War
Yes.
II. Obviously, Captain America, Black Panther is the Black Panther that we see in the movies. It's his grandfather. And interesting
Is it
enough,
his grandfather or his dad?
or his dad. Sorry.
Chaka?
Yeah, it's a Chaka. And interesting enough, obviously, you've seen Black Panther there with his mask off. Come to point out that if anybody's familiar with The Walking Dead, and Ezekiel, the character who has the tiger, is the same actor that plays this character, and you look at him, you're like, that is definitely him. So I was
Oh
like,
fuck
that
yeah,
was a really dope choice to
that's
pick
pretty
for that
sick.
character.
Yeah, that's pretty
Obviously, a lot of people are saying that most of this is probably all cinematic, but apparently there's like maybe some hints at some gameplay, in the game. So like, it looks fucking
There,
dope.
like in that one scene
when he threw
here.
when he threw the
When
shield, or
yeah,
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 that looks like gameplay.
this game has a lot of potential. This game cannot be live service. Cannot be live service. If they
So
want this shit to
naturally,
succeed, this
so
cannot.
naturally, I can't wait for this to come out as a live service game.
Yeah, and flop hard.
And just shit the bed.
Yeah.
No, if this is cinematics that we're looking at, like this, it's still really, really.
And it's interesting to see there, like Captain America and Black Panther go at it because of their differences, and it kind of has that from the movies, that Civil War feel to it,
Yeah.
where they couldn't agree on one thing because they obviously you'll work together in the game eventually, but that you have some differences that you'll have to settle.
Well, it was the 40s, so obviously Captain America was like, but
racist.
yeah, I was kind of trying to leave that one out of there, but did they say they? I haven't seen much about who the other heroes would be.
Well, the two are like one's part of the Wakanda like Secret Service, like whoever from the movies, the girls that be wearing the red. I'm drawing a blank on who they are.
Like the King's Guard or whatever.
Yeah,
I
and
forget their name. I don't know.
and the
I
other
didn't
one
watch
is just
Black
like a World
Panther.
War II like soldier or
Kidding.
something like
Kidding.
that.
I watched the fuck out of Black Panther. I'm just teasing before anybody hates on me. I'm just joking.
So so it'll be curious to see. Like I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be co-op, 2-player, 4-player, 3-player, or if it's single player. You have a team kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy was a single player game, but like you played in like with all of the Guardians all at one time, but like you only play as Star-Lord. So like I'm curious, really curious.
Who knows?
But moving on here to Fortnite. Fortnite has to make the news here because they do plan to release its first season developed entirely in their UEFN engine by the end of 2025, which is just like a modified version of Unreal Engine 5, just the Fortnite engine. And they really displayed like at GDC recently, like what the game is capable of. Like they showed like a regular world that they've developed, like it looked like a Fortnite city or like a retail row or whatever. And then they were like, you want to see what a spaceship would look like from like your 70s or 80s movies, kind of like Alien and stuff like that. So they were like, they hopped in this portal and they appeared and they were in the shit. And I was like, are we in Dead Space? because that's really what that fucking shit looked like. I was like, there's no way that they were able to like have it so fucking detailed and whatnot. And then they were like, if you're building a game and you want it to look like this, you can also change like the aesthetics. So like obviously we know what the Fortnite map looks like, really bold, colorful, and stuff like that. And then they changed it and it really fit the theme of like this alien built spaceship. And I was like, the
Mm-hmm.
capabilities in this game is going to be endless. But what they're going to do
Oh
in
yeah.
future seasons is going to be really awesome to see. Like, I love a lot of these games. Obviously, the negative connotation is that they're letting go of developers because just let the community build the games. And half the time, honestly, I think the community does a better job than the developers. Hate to say it because they're led by corporate greed at the top.
Well,
If you,
then the problem is then we're losing good developers,
when they get
and
to go
then
work on
corporate
something
greed
else,
wins again. You know,
yeah,
all these
I
people on
do.
top
I
are
agree.
making thousands, millions of dollars because of the work that the end users are putting into it, and developers are getting,
I
you
forget the
know,
average payout though because
scraps.
Epic actually pays anybody who creates stuff in this engine that eventually gets used in the game, the
Hmm.
main concept of the game. Like they actually do get paid for it and whatnot. So like at least there's some kind of compensation program. Like it is thousands of dollars that they do get paid. So at
Hmm.
least they're not just taking their shit and like, hey, thanks, have a good day. Like there's
Thanks.
still a
Here's
Have a good
some
payout.
one.
biscuits.
Yeah.
Here's some cookies. I hear you call them biscuits over here.
So yeah, that's all the Fortnite news I got for you. So let's round out the episode with the hot topic of this episode, apparently too, Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah, so Dragon's Dogma 2, like same day they released a patch to try and hopefully help the game. We are investigating fixes and critical problems causing freezes and crashes, so they're hopefully going to be able to roll that out. They said the new option of starting a new game, because we didn't even talk about the true dumpster fire that is Dragon's Dogma 2. But like the fact is, like when you made a character, it was permanent. It cost $2 to change your character's like facial features. Like, oh,
Mm.
once you've made your character is permanent. Like you couldn't. It's on the server, and the copy that you have locally isn't the real copy, and you had to pay to change it. Let's talk about the paid DLC. They had the Art of Metamorphosis. It's available in character creation. They said ambivalent rift incense, change pawn inclinations, like the porta crystal, the warp location marker. You could get wake stones to restore the dead to life. 500 rift crystals. All these are in the game. They said they're like you can just get them out of the game. They're just in the game. You can get them. Like okay, cool, great, but like why? Like they're like we're just allowing you to pay these $20 to get ahead, you know, or you could just find them in the game.
Yeah.
It's
It
like
works in a way, but like it's not what everybody's used to. Like
yeah, it's
you
like
feel like you should be able
why
to
did it
customize
have
your
to?
character at all times. Where like in real life,
Yeah,
like you're not going to be changing your appearance all the time, like ever. You
yeah,
know, like it builds
it
the
just
immersion, but
felt
then like
so
it takes
janky.
the customization away. Like I see both
Hmm.
sides to the argument for sure.
Well, they got to make up all that money they paid Ian McShane.
Which was funny. Apparently, a modder has already modded everything that you have to pay for into the game, and you no longer have to pay for it.
Yeah.
So
And
that
then they also said the frame rate issue as well. There's a large amount of CPU utilization that they weren't prepared for. So
mhm.
they're like every action you make in the game just takes too much CPU. We're trying to figure that out. And it's like what?
And it
Like
was really interesting too.
wasn't
Like
this
the
caught?
console version, they did like an uncapped frame rate, which
Hmm.
most games don't do that on console. And like the PlayStation gets like 28 to 30, maybe 32, and Xbox gets anywhere from like 30 to 40 frames. So
Hmm.
it's just like okay,
They're
but yeah, it just really comes down to the CPU and like obviously like the Xbox has a much more powerful CPU than the PlayStation does as of right now. It's like that's where the frame is probably dropping in and out.
Yeah, and they were trying to say that there's basically like a band-aid for it, which is to make settings that actually reduce your GPU load.
Yeah.
Uh, eh,
Gaming is in a really interesting state. Like, I don't feel like we're in next gen gaming. I just feel like we're in a modified, like, continuation of the previous gen. Like, we haven't fully
yeah.
gotten to that next generation. Like,
We're
when,
in fourth gen right now, like the fourth gen of the main consoles, and most of them are like struggling to like figure it out because they're like, most of our market is here, but also here and there and here. And
Yeah.
how do we make it for all these systems? And
It's
like,
to put it into perspective, right? The PS5 when it launched, the box, it is in big fucking images. It can support 8K, it can do 4K 120, it can do all this
Mhm.
shit, but a lot of fucking games cannot do 8K, and most games struggle to do 4K 30.
Your
So
mileage may vary.
yeah,
yep.
big time. So like until you can consistently give me 4K 120 on the console experience, we're not there yet. Don't even try for 8K. 8K is irrelevant at that point.
Yep.
So we'll see how that goes. But guys, we actually got through the massive episode that we had in our hands. 2 weeks worth of news that we had to cover in only about 15 minutes longer than we normally do. So thanks
Pure
to
content,
everyone.
baby.
Hell yeah,
Pure
dude.
content, good
Pure
boy.
content. We did a fantastic job, but we do want to thank everyone who did come out and check us out live today, and anyone who does check us out later on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you may catch us at. But we do want to see where Roger can be found in the community.
Discord. You can find me on
Hey,
Discord or
question.
here. Or here, you know.
Hey, appreciate the cheers there, Free to Beast. What about you, Scott?
You can always find me here every Sunday getting used to my new setup. If we're not here Sundays at 7, you can always find me on Discord as well. Just Scobie1. Giving up the stream game, I only had 2 or 3. It was a good run, long run. But at the same time, I also went through everything that's been reoccurring payments and got rid of some of that. So I'm going to keep doing what I have always been doing, which is just hang out in Discord and maybe stream to them.
Not wrong with that. And of course, everyone, you can check me out at Twitter at Mr. Never Chillin' _, where I got some engaging posts. Come check him out there. This or that Thursdays, what I'm playing, stuff like that. Check me out on Threads at Mr. Never Chillin'. Xbox is X Never Space Chillin'. If you want a game party up, hit me up there. Facebook is Vic Brubacher for any questions, concerns, or any of that kind of stuff. Hit me up there. And I do stream over on my Twitch at twitch.tv/Mr. Never Chillin', where I do got to figure out what I am playing next for my mainline story game. I kind of know
Dragon's Dogma.
no, not happening. Eventually though, too much time. And the thing is, like, I know one of my main games because like we've already decided like game club in a month for April. We're changing the structure where we're going to be just handpicking a single player game and a multiplayer game. So you have two options to play. And then we'll come together still at the end of the month and talk about them. And we're no longer like really taking like community votes. It's more like the community, the committee choosing it. So like I know like the single player game is going to be Alan Wake 2. I will disclose that. So I'm really excited to finally give that a go because I am fucking pumped to check that shit out. And then the multiplayer game will be still decided. I know it's one of two options: Helldivers 2 and Diablo 4, since it does come to Game Pass here in a few days, and I know a lot of people are excited to check that out once it drops there. So we'll see. We'll see which one turns out there. But do want to appreciate everyone and join us in the after show channel in our Discord to continue the conversation. But we do want to thank everyone again. Until next week, peace.
Restart podcast.